I'll be giving you guys an update on Asia with the focus of learning spaces. Why do we need learning spaces? Because as we all know, COVID has severely impacted our lives, especially on children all around the world. And since COVID, there were actually at a point 168 million children around the world were not able to go to school because of school closures. And there was an estimated 23.8 million children who dropped out of school because of COVID, and not all of them would get the chance to go back to school because they're at risk of different abuses. For example, child trafficking, human trafficking, child labor, etc. And you might think that, well, now there's technology, right? So we're going online learning, so there shouldn't be a problem. But actually is a new challenge for a lot of people around the world, and actually widens the pre-existing inequalities in many ways. Around the world, there are about 30% students globally who either don't have access to technology for remote learning, or the remote learning actually don't even exist in where they live. And in Hong Kong particularly, there are about 40% of children who don't own a computer. So it's very challenging for them. And therefore, we are partnering with our network partners in Asia and starting this Learning Spaces program, which I am sure all of you already heard about during the dinner and through our meetings. And these, what are these programs? They are supplementary education programs with the emphasis on psychosocial and mental health support. So they're not just regular after-school programs who help the kids with homework. We actually have a curriculum to help the kids to get better socially and mentally. And these programs are adapted from our Uganda and Nepal partners. They have been running them successfully. And we have been doing these programs for 8 years now. And we work with local schools and with the aim to help children to return to school wherever possible. And these learning spaces are made of teams of dedicated teachers, mentors, and most of them are volunteers, which including local churches as well. And the learning space in Nepal, now we have 3 learning spaces and currently looking for a new location. And there are about 91 children who are receiving educational and psychosocial support in this program in Nepal, and they are very, very successful. I think just from last month, we heard from them that all of the children who are enrolled in the programs are returning to school. So that's very encouraging as well. And in Myanmar, we are launching learning spaces. There will be 8 programs. We will start them in March, and there'll be 4 locations in total, an estimation of 240 children who will be benefited from these programs. And the locations including refugee camps, street communities, and children's home. And in Cambodia, we have a total of 5 learning spaces, and their program is a little bit different than the others because they do with children who are a little bit more older, from 9 years or above, and most of them are actually teenagers. And their programs are after school hours. They run them 6 days per week in the evenings. And coming back to Hong Kong, we are hoping to set up our learning spaces hopefully this year. We have been talking to different potential partners and churches, and there are some positive responses, and some of them are willing to lend the spaces for us to run the programs, and some of them even have the manpower to do it. So we are currently looking at logistics on how to run the program, how to best meet the needs of children in Hong Kong. And what's the impact of the learning spaces? Is actually a very effective prevention and intervention strategy against child abuse, because it often operates in volatile communities with children who are vulnerable, at risk of being trafficked or high-teen pregnancy or child labor and stuff like that. And it promotes mental health awareness in the community and provides us opportunity to build trust with the communities and leaders from different backgrounds. And it enables us to help to partner with local schools and government officials. And there are 3 prayer points that we want to share with you guys. First is the protection and wisdom for COVID-19 impacted communities. There have been some communities who are forced to close down temporarily the learning spaces, which is very challenging for the children and families. And secondly, the right staff who are committed to a longer term vision, which will help us to run the program sustainably, and also continue support from partners and donors. And that's all from me.